Today on Grow with Science, I've got 7 amazing flower seeds to sow and grow in September. The first flower is a member of the Asteraceae family, and it's most commonly known as the marigold. Marigolds are actually indigenous to Mexico and Guatemala, and they were originally brought to Europe and northern Africa in the late 16th century, where they were quickly adopted into people's gardens. And you can just sow marigolds straight into the ground where they're going to flower. And it's best to sow them in drills around 12mm deep, around 30cm apart. And next up we've got Nigella, or as it's commonly known, love in a mist. Nigella is a traditional cottage garden flower, and it's really easy to grow. The seeds prefer a sunny position and they'll grow well in most garden soils. So just cast your seeds thinly wherever you want them to flower, and then dust them with a thin layer of compost. And then all you've got to do is look forward to them flowering next year. Queen's Anne's lace is next, and it's also known as a wild carrot. And in a lot of places, Queen's Anne lace is now known as an invasive plant, but it can be an attractive addition to a wildflower garden. Queen's Anne's lace can reach heights between 30 to 120 centimetres. It's got fern-like foliage with flat clusters of tiny white flowers. As these are biennial, they bloom during the second year, from spring on into autumn. Despite these plants being known as a wild carrot and once being used as an alternative for people who couldn't afford the real thing, it's generally best to not go out eating them, as they bear a close resemblance to another taproot, more commonly called poison hemlock, which is definitely not something you want to be eating with your Sunday dinner. And then next we've got cornflowers. From the family Asteraceae, Centaurea cyanus is an upright annual, and it grows up to 75 centimetres tall. It's got simple or slightly lobed leaves and a solitary deep blue flower head, and they're usually around 3 to 4 centimetres across, and they bloom in late spring and summer. And you can still sow these now in a sunny, well-drained position for cornflowers early next year. And these are ideal to sow with marigolds for a contrasting blue and orange display. And then next we've got poppies from the Papaveraceae family. These form solitary long-stalked yellow, orange or red flowers, and they're followed by conspicuous long seed pods. And poppies tend to be a vigorous bushy plant, growing to around 30 centimetres tall with 7cm wide flowers. Like a lot of the late sowing varieties, these benefit from a sunny position to make the most of the shorter days and the limited sunlight that they're going to get in the end of the season. And poppies thrive in poor soil, so these are really good to get in any garden. The one thing to keep in mind is that they do need the sunlight for the flowers to open. And then we've got violas, which tend to have small flowers and they tolerate heat really well, and they have a really long flowering season right from early summer all the way through into autumn. Not to be confused with pansies, which have larger flower heads and more intense colour, and they're more commonly used for winter bedding. There are loads of violas to choose from, and you can find one to suit every garden situation, from hanging baskets to patio containers. And many viola flowers are also edible, so they make a really nice looking addition to your salads. You can grow violas in moist but well-drained soil in partial shade. And you can grow these in modules indoors and then thin them out as you plant them out in spring. And then finally we've got geraniums, which are a genus of 422 annual, biennial and perennial plants. They're found throughout the temperate regions of the world and the mountains of the tropics, but they're mostly in eastern part of the Mediterranean region. And you can grow geraniums in moist but well-drained soil, in sun or shade. Geraniums die back in the autumn and they regrow in spring, so mulching annually with leaf mould or well-rotted compost or horse manure will keep the plants growing well for several years. And just like with violas, you can grow these in your propagators indoors, and then once they've established and grown a bit, you can repot them, ready for planting out in spring. It is worth mentioning that geraniums are quite difficult to grow from seed, so it's not really one for beginners. But if you don't fancy having a go, you can get absolutely millions of these at your garden centres, and you'll usually walk in and see a big wall of different coloured ones. So if you don't fancy having a go, maybe just still get some anyway and get them planted in spring. So that's it for today. Hopefully now you've got some fantastic ideas for some flowers that you can sow now for some brilliant flower beds in spring. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Grow It With Science, so that you can check out my other videos and have a look at the other parts of this video, which was 7 vegetable seeds to sow in September. And I'll see you next time.